Hey guys, Dan here from Your Guitar Academy here, and welcome to this lesson where we're going to look at two super easy chords that you can pick up even if you've never ever picked up a guitar before. So this is day one of your journey. You're going to be able to some extent, put these two chords together, and the best part of it is that you're actually going to be able to learn a song, a full song with these two chords as well. So we're going to be getting right into it. I'm going to be showing you both those chord shapes, breaking them down into super detail. But first of all, let's just have a listen to the song that we'll actually be putting together. Okay, so just before we get into it, if you're liking this video, then please do hit the like button and then do subscribe as well. We've got loads more videos that can really help you on your guitar journey. Also, please leave a comment as well. We're happy to help with any questions that you might have about these chords or anything else to do with the guitar. Finally, if you are looking to really take your skills to the next level as a beginner guitarist, then we've got a full course right here on YouTube or on our website, which you can take right now. And we'll put the links here and in the description below. Right, so I'm going to approach this as if this was the first thing that you've ever done on the guitar. So this is an exciting day, right? This is going to be the first, not only song, but the first couple of chords that you've looked at. And even if you have looked at a few other chords, this is going to be really satisfying putting these together. There's two chords that we're going to need to learn. And the first one is called E minor. And it looks like that, okay? So there's a couple of things, basic things that I want to kind of go through with you here. And first thing is just simple act of holding the kind of left hand, if you're doing the guitar this way around, how you actually hold it on the neck, okay? And basically what you need to really make sure, the first thing I want you guys to do is to just put the thumb on the back of the neck, okay? So literally the first things first, just get your thumb right on the back. I'm just going to bring this round here so you can see. That thumb is flat on the back like that, okay? So it's not like this, okay? It's not over here like that, it's flat and it's about midway on the neck, okay? Now once you've got that in place, oh, and you can hear my plectrum rattling around inside the guitar. Once you've got that in place, your next job is then to bring the wrist around so that your fingers are all kind of in this kind of position. So they're roughly spread out. You can actually see that you can quite easily get all the way up here to the lowest E string, as well as any of these other strings here. So that's your hand position. And honestly, if this is the first thing you've ever done on the guitar, it's going to feel really uncomfortable. Imagine that you've never done anything like this before. This is a totally new thing for your wrist, for your arm, for everything. So it's all going to feel a bit weird, but you will get used to it. This is definitely the right technique that you want to stick to. Now, the E minor chord, starting with that base of how I'm holding my hand, that kind of grounding there, you need to put your second finger on the second fret of the A string. So there's a lot of information there, so let's just go through that. First of all, second finger, so 1, 2, 3, let's do this closer. 1, 2, 3, 4 in terms of your fingers, there they are. And you can see they've got big old divots in them, as yours will have, as you do this more. And I'm just my second finger, and I'm on the second fret, okay? So these spaces on the fretboard between the silver lines, that's how we number our frets. So fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, fret 4, and so on. So I'm going to put it on the second fret, okay? And I'm on the second string down. So this is the lowest string, and then this string, and this is called the A string, okay? Again, don't worry too much about that for now. Loads of detail all about this in our full course if you want to go for it. Absolutely free, of course. Now, that second finger needs to come into that fret, and we'll just do that for now. Just try and, with your right hand, if you've got a plectrum, or even if you're not doing a plectrum, just try and play that A string and just hear if it sounds clear. So hopefully we're getting something as clear like that, but we might be getting something like this. And normally that's happening because, well, one of a few reasons, but the first one I would say is try and get this finger as far across this fret as you can. So where the silver bit is here, try and get it as close to that as you can, okay? Now, depending on what chord you're playing, you won't always be able to get it right up to there, but as close as you can is the key thing here, okay? The other thing is you might just want to adjust the pressure, so you're really going to need to push down here pretty hard, okay? And it's really important as a beginner that you take breaks. So as soon as your wrist starts hurting a little bit, just take a break, just do a few like little stretches like that, and then come back to it. Again, hand at the back, thumb at the back, wrist round, and off we go. So that's our first note. Then we're gonna add the third finger. So literally the next finger along, okay? And I'm gonna put that right underneath. So that finger is going on the 2nd fret again, but this time of the D string. So the 1, 2, 3, the 3rd string down like that, okay? And those two go on together, okay? So this is where you're gonna have to kind of, it's a bit of a balancing act trying to get them both quite close to the fret, but you can do the best you can. This one is gonna be right next to the fret there. And I'm just plucking the D string, just there like that. And then this one's gonna come right above it. And hopefully you've got the 2 ringing out. You're gonna really need to push down for that. Get those 2 ringing out, okay? Now, for the rest of the strings, they're all open. So that means we can just strum all 6 strings, and we wanna hear all of the strings. Now, very, very normally, and it's something not to worry about, is everyone goes through it. You're gonna have a couple of dead strings there. You might have the open E string muted a bit, and that's very likely just because this finger is just slightly touching it. So just make sure it's not touching that. And then equally, the string that's underneath your 3rd finger here, so the G string, should be sounding like this, but it could be like this. And that's just where you can see my fingers are just flattening a bit too much. So I need to make sure, a couple of things here, right? This is bent, okay, so rather than that, that's flat. We're gonna bend this joint, thumb goes to the back, wrist comes round, and we should be able to create a kind of bridge underneath that to here. Okay. So what I would suggest doing is just pause the video and just spend just a bit of time just trying to get that chord together. That's our first chord, okay? And once you've got it, just loose strumming. Just try and we're not worrying about the strumming hand right this second. Just try and get that together, okay? Now, take a break, take your hand off there. The second chord we're going to learn, we're not going to worry about the name at all. It's a kind of chord quite specific to this song. Okay, so it's just a chord shape that you can add specifically for this song. So it's not one you need to remember the name of, but I would recommend remembering that this one is called an E minor. Okay. Of course, in our full course, we will get into that in great, great detail. Now, the second chord is this. Okay. So I want you to kind of use this as your bass, this E minor as your bass. And what you're going to do from there is you're going to take this 2nd finger up 1 string. Boop. And you're going to take this 3rd finger down 1 string. Boop. Okay, so we've gone from there, and then we've gone up 1, down 1. Still in the 2nd fret, but now we're on the lowest string, the E string, and on the G string here. So that's the 4th string down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So we've got this. Now, again here, I would highly, highly expect for this to sound something like this. And that's really no problem. I've sat in front of hundreds and hundreds of students, and we all go through the same thing, even myself when we first start, right? This is just the start, okay? So it's all improvement from here, which is the good news. So the 2nd finger goes down, and I would say the hardest thing here is to get the A string ringing out, so the one underneath that finger there. But use the same principles, okay? So that thumb back, okay? Remember what I'm doing here, guys. I've got that thumb planted. It's not like that, it's like that, okay? And I'm gonna bring that round. There goes that plectrum again. And then from there, my wrist comes round. That's all really nice and groovy. And I just try and get that as close to the fret, so not over the fret, as close as the fret as possible. And we've got all the strings ringing out again. Okay? So we've got 2 chords. We've got the E minor and this second unnamed chord. We're literally not going to worry about it. Could be named so many things, we're just not going to worry about it. Now, the next step that I want to do is I want to just try changing between them, and I've got a little bit of kind of golden advice, I think, here, which should really help you guys when you're getting this together. Don't worry about perfection at this point, okay? I'd say there's 2 strategies for practicing here. I'd say 5 minutes or 10 minutes of your practice time is just individually with these 2 chords, can I get them to sound good? You know, can I get that chord sounding as good as possible? And that's where you fiddle around with it, you know, and then you go to this chord and you fiddle around with that, you know, through everything. So you're really teaching your fingers where to go, but that's a very gradual process. The second part of the practice needs to be much less considered and much more just, let's just go for it kind of attitude, okay? Whereby we're gonna pop a drum beat on, which I'll do now, and we're just gonna practice trying to just change the chord in time, okay? And this is so much fun because you've got this kind of timing of a drum loop, which I'll put on in a second and we'll talk through that. And that will allow you, it gives you that kind of pressure to get to something as quickly as you can. And it won't sound perfect when you get to that chord, but that's part of the practice. The more your fingers get used to the literal kind of movement, then the easier and easier it's going to get to then make the chords sound good when you get to that. Okay, so we're going to put this drum beat on, okay? And it sounds like this. So hopefully you're familiar with that kind of sound. Okay, it's a lot better than a metronome, let's put it that way. And we're going to count 4. Okay, so after every 4, when we get to the 1, we want to be on the next chord. That's just how you divide a bar. It's super, super simple. It's just a time, a measurement of music. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, like that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now for you guys, it might sound something like this. It's going to feel like a mad rush. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And that's good. That's what I want. That's what we want. We want to kind of push those fingers to just move a little bit quicker. It's kind of like an exercise here, really. In the same way you might push your body when you're doing sit-ups or push-ups, we're trying to push those fingers just to get used to this physical movement between these two chords. Now, spend a little bit of time doing that. If you don't have a drum machine or a metronome or anything like that, just give yourself some kind of timing. Try and count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just give yourself some kind of pressure to kind of try and get there, okay? Now, if you can do that to any extent, whether the chords are sounding relatively good or just pretty awful, but if you can change between them in some kind of rough timing, you can start thinking about playing the song. Because literally, the song is the E minor to that chord over and over again. And if you hadn't worked it out by now, it's Horse with No Name by America. Great, great song. It obviously moves a little bit quicker than that, but you can see, as soon as you can put those two together, then you can start playing that. Okay? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is just a little bit of rhythm. Now, in our full course, I would go through this in much more depth, but I'm just going to throw this at you now just to see as an extra for you guys that want to add a bit more rhythm to this, okay? And we're going to aim for this. This is our aim. Okay? Now, strumming is all about a consistent movement with your right hand, okay? And in order to try and get that movement going, we're going to start with a very simple strum. We're just going to go down, down, up, okay? Down, down, up, okay? So if you wanted to count through that, and that's something I highly recommend doing and something we go through in our course in great detail because it's so important, it would be 1, 2, and. Okay, but we're not going to go into that much detail right here because I just want to give you something that you can go away with and just have a lot of fun with right now. So it's that down, down, up, 3, 4. Down, down, up. Okay, down, down, up. And notice that I hit the first down, I miss the guitar as I come back up, I hit the next down, and I hit the next up. And then I've got a bit of space before the next chord. Okay, so have a listen to that with the drum beat, okay? 3, 4. Okay, so there we have it. There is 2 chords that you can get down. Now, it might take you the whole afternoon, it might take you a couple of days, but you can definitely get those down in a couple of practice sessions. They might not sound perfect, but you will be playing the guitar and you will be playing some kind of tune, okay? Then your next step is to just change those two chords, 1 bar each, as we talked about, and that's basically the track, Horse with No Name. And then if you want to add that strumming pattern, then please be my guest. Just try and get that little bit of extra rhythm into it. Obviously, by doing that, it puts a bit more pressure on the chord changes, so don't add that final layer until you feel a bit more ready and a bit more confident with those chords. Okay guys, so that's it from me. I really hope you enjoyed that. Please do remember to click the like button if you liked it. Please subscribe to the page and leave us a comment. Now, if you are interested in starting that beginner's course, you want to just take your playing to the next level, properly commit to it, get rid of any bad habits and just go for it, then you'll find it right here. And this is the YouTube link, so you can take it right here on YouTube. And at any point within that course, you can switch over to our website for all the materials that you'll need as well. Or if you just want to carry on doing some really cool beginner stuff, there's some stuff that you can do right here. I'll speak to you again soon.